Part 18 of the Military Journals of Two Private Soldiers, 1758-1775. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by FNH. The Military Journals of Two Private Soldiers, 1758-1775, by Abraham Tomlinson. Part 18. Lexington, April 25th, 1775. I, Elijah Sanderson, above named, do further testify and declare that I was on Lexington Common the morning of the 19th of April aforesaid, having been dismissed by the officers above mentioned, and saw a large body of regular troops advancing towards Lexington Company, many of whom were then dispersing. I heard one of the regulars, whom I took to be an officer, say, "Damn them, we will have them," and immediately the regulars shouted aloud, run, and fired upon the Lexington Company, which did not fire a gun before the regulars discharged on them. 8 of the Lexington Company were killed while they were dispersing, and at a considerable distance from each other, and many wounded, and although a spectator, I narrowly escaped with my life. Elijah Sanderson. Lexington, April 23rd, 1775. I, Thomas Rice Willard, of lawful age, do testify and declare that, being in the house of Daniel Harrington of said Lexington on the 19th instant, in the morning, about half an hour before sunrise, looked out at the window of said house, and saw, as I suppose, about 400 regulars in one body coming up the road, and marched towards the north part of the common, back of the meeting house of said Lexington. And as soon as said regulars were against the east end of the meeting house, the commanding officer said something, what I know not, but upon that the regulars ran till they came within about 8 or 9 rods of about 100 of the militia of Lexington, who were collected on said common, at which time the militia of Lexington dispersed. Then the officers made a huzzah, and the private soldiers succeeded them. Directly after this, an officer rode before the regulars to the other side of the body, and hallooed after the militia of said Lexington, and said, "Lay down your arms, damn you! Why don't you lay down your arms?" And that there was not a gun fired till the militia of Lexington were dispersed, and further saith not. Thomas Rice Willard. Lexington, April 25th, 1775. Simon Winship of Lexington, in the county of Middlesex, and province of Massachusetts Bay, New England, being of lawful age, testifieth and saith, that on the 19th April instant, about 4 o'clock in the morning, as he was passing the public road in said Lexington, peaceably and unarmed, about 2 miles and a half distance from the meeting house in said Lexington, he was met by a body of King's regular troops, and being stopped by some officers of said troops, was commanded to dismount. Upon asking why he must dismount, he was obliged by force to quit his horse, and ordered to march in the midst of the body, and being examined whether he had been warning the minute men, he answered, "No, but had been out, and was then returning to his father's." Said Winship further testifies that he marched with said troops till he came within half a quarter of a mile of said meeting house, where an officer commanded the troops to halt, and then to prime and load. This being done, the said troops marched on till they came within a few rods of Captain Parker's company, who were partly collected on the place of parade, when said Winship observed an officer at the head of said troops flourishing his sword, and with a loud voice giving the word, "Fire! Fire!" which was instantly followed by a discharge of arms from said regular troops. And said Winship is positive, and in the most solemn manner declares, that there was no discharge of arms on either side till the word "Fire" was given by the said officer as above. Simon Winship. Lexington, April 25th, 1775. I, John Parker, of lawful age, and commander of the militia in Lexington, do testify and declare that on the 19th instant, in the morning, about 1 of the clock, being informed that there were a number of regular officers riding up and down the road, stopping and insulting people as they passed the road, and also was informed that a number of regular troops were on their march from Boston, in order to take the province stores at Concord, ordered our militia to meet on the common in said Lexington, to consult what to do, and concluded not to be discovered, nor meddle or make said with regular troops, if they should approach, unless they should insult or molest us. And, upon their sudden approach, I immediately ordered our militia to disperse, and not to fire. Immediately said troops made their appearance, and rushed furiously, fired upon, and killed 8 of our party, without receiving any provocation therefor from us. John Parker. Lexington, April 24th, 1775. I, John Robbins, being of lawful age, do testify and say that, on the 19th instant, the company under the command of Captain John Parker being drawn up some time before sunrise on the green or common, and I being in the front rank, there suddenly appeared a number of the King's troops, about 1,000, as I thought, at the distance of about 60 or 70 yards from us, huzzaing, and on a quick pace towards us, with 3 officers in their front on horseback, and on full gallop towards us, the foremost of which cried, "Throw down your arms, ye villains, ye rebels!" Upon which said company dispersing, the foremost of the 3 officers ordered their men, saying, "Fire, by God, fire!" At which moment we received a very heavy and close fire from them, at which instant, being wounded, I fell, and several of our men were shot dead by me. Captain Parker's men, I believeth, had not then fired a gun, and further the deponent saith not. John Robbins. Lexington, April 25th, 1775. We, Benjamin Tidd of Lexington, and Joseph Abbott of Lincoln, in the county of Middlesex and colony of Massachusetts Bay, in New England, of lawful age, do testify and declare that on the morning of the 19th of April instant, about 5 o'clock, being on Lexington Common and mounted on horses, we saw a body of regular troops marching up to the Lexington company, which was then dispersing. Soon after, the regulars fired. First, a few guns, which we took to be pistols, from some of the regulars who were mounted on horses, and then the said regulars fired a volley or 2 before any guns were fired by the Lexington company. Our horses immediately started, and we rode off, and further say not. Benjamin Tidd, Joseph Abbott. Lexington, April 25th, 1775. We, Nathaniel Mullikin, Philip Russell, Moses Harrington, Jr., Thomas and Daniel Harrington, William Grimes, William Tidd, Isaac Hastings, Jonas Stone, Jr., James Wyman, Thaddeus Harrington, John Chandler, Joshua Reed, Jr., Joseph Simmons, Phineas Smith, John Chandler, Jr., Reuben Koch, Joel Viles, Nathan Reed, Samuel Tidd, Benjamin Locke, Thomas Winship, Simeon Snow, John Smith, Moses Harrington III, Joshua Reed, Ebenezer Parker, John Harrington, Enoch Willington, John Hornier, Isaac Green, Phineas Stearns, Isaac Durant, and Thomas Headley, Jr., all of lawful age, and inhabitants of Lexington, in the county of Middlesex, and colony of Massachusetts Bay, in New England, do testify and declare that on the 19th of April instant, about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, being informed that several officers of the regulars had, the evening before, been riding up and down the road, and had detained and insulted the inhabitants passing the same, and also understanding that a body of regulars were marching from Boston towards Concord, with the intent, as it was supposed, to take the stores belonging to the colony in that town, we were alarmed, and having met at the place of our company's parade, were dismissed by our captain, John Parker, for the present, with orders to be ready to attend at the beat of the drum. We further testify and declare that about 5 o'clock in the morning, hearing our drum beat, we proceeded towards the parade, and soon found that a large body of troops were marching towards us. Some of our company were coming up to the parade, and others had reached it, at which time the company began to disperse. While our backs were turned on the troops, we were fired on by them, and a number of our men were instantly killed and wounded. Not a gun was fired by any person in our company on the regulars, to our knowledge, before they fired on us, and they continued firing until we had all made our escape. Signed by each of the above deponents. End of Part 18. Recording by F.N.H. Please visit www.bookranger.co.uk.